Hey everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner and I have a very special guest in the corner. Would you like to unveil your secret identity?
Hi, I'm Gavin Hammon, and I guess most recently I'm Kenny from the Walking Dead Telltale game.
That doesn't sound very secret. That sounds pretty
No,
upfront.
oh, secret. I don't know. I don't have a secret identity, I suppose.
Well, Captain Underpants when he sleeps.
Well, I am Furby, which is a bit of a sort of nefarious secret identity, I guess, ruining
Furby.
households around America and soon worldwide.
That's a
Sadly,
that's a scary thought.
it is kind of a scary thought, but
That
it was a
sounds
fun job.
that sounds more like a villain than anything else.
Yeah, it's really subtle, but still insidious. There's all sorts of menace lurking beneath the surface.
Well, for the listeners out there who might not be familiar with how you got into the business, can you explain what sparked your interest into acting?
Sure. I was working in construction in like 1999 or so. I had been in a band and we had stopped touring. So I was working, and my dad called me and said that Samantha Paris, who runs a voiceover academy out here in Sausalito, California, was on a talk show, a radio talk show. Not dissimilar to this one, only they were much more important than I am. But she was talking about voiceover, and I never really had put much thought into it. I knew it existed, but I never really thought people did it. I mean, I grew up watching Looney Tunes with Mel Blanc, and I spent really a long time watching The Simpsons in syndication every day because I was in a band, so I didn't really have to do much of anything else besides watch a videotape. But and I just called them up and took some classes, and found that it was a really interesting thing and something I could do. And so I just started doing it. I've been doing it for about almost 10 years now. So
Well, once you
it's
found it, you couldn't let it go.
I couldn't once I did a job and got and someone wanted to pay me for it, and it was just the coolest thing. And then I've always played video games, and so getting to be some tiny part in a video game to me is awesome because I love playing them. I don't really like playing things that I've worked on, but I love playing every other kind of game, and so it's fun to actually get to be in it, sort of contribute and see how they're all put together. There's so many people.
Well, what's nice is you actually enjoy playing video games. I know that there's a lot of, voiceover artists out there who are like, I wish, but it's Cooking Mama and Tetris for me.
Yeah, no, it's weird. I honestly, I haven't really met another one. I mean, maybe but most of the voice actors that I know, and we don't meet each other very often because we're always kind of working in isolation. But most of the ones that I've met, don't at all, and it's a trip to me. I mean, I don't think that gives me like an advantage or anything because I mean, it's still just acting and knowing where you are in the scene and conveying the intent of the thing, which actors do, and that's acting. So I mean, it's cool to kind of get a feel for how things come together and sort of having experience knowing, oh, this is obviously a line when you click on this guy, he's going to say this 100 million times. So you don't want to be too weird with the way that you say it because somebody's always going to remember that. So
And you can see it more from a fan's perspective as well because you're a
oh
fan
yeah,
yourself.
and I can appreciate people that are good, especially playing a game and being like, wow, she's really good or he's really good. This is neat. It's sort of how you get sucked into a scene. It's great to experience those performances because I really think there's fantastic performances that people are making these days in video games that my friends and colleagues and people that are just my peers that are really doing amazing stuff. It's a great time to be playing games.
Definitely. And you said you really don't play the games that you're in very often.
No, I generally don't. I've played like the first maybe three-quarters of The Walking Dead, and I plan to get through it. It's weird for me, to hear myself in a situation. I don't get sort of transported the way I do with everybody else. I get sort of jarred back to, what I was doing or how I said it or how I could have said it this way or that way. It's hard for me to just sort of detach and enjoy it. More so with like it's easier with toys because toys kind of they're so disjointed anyway, but in the flow of a game or something like that, it's weird. But I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff that that I've been lucky enough to do this past couple, the past year and next year, that I probably will end up playing something. And I'm sure I'll play through The Walking Dead. It's hard, and I already kind of know what happens. Yeah.
That's true. You don't
Uh,
really get the
yeah,
surprises or the
no,
emotional,
I already
ties to
know
it.
all the spoilers. So it's like, oh wow, that's horrible to do that, and oh yeah. So I already knew. I knew 6 months ago, but it's sad. But I missed the opportunity to get to play it as like a fresh perspective. But it's still great. I mean, I played the first 3 quarters of it, and it was just, so visceral and feels so different from anything else, especially things that are flashing and popping all over the place. To play something that's more paced like that, it really just kind of sucks you in.
Well,
And
congratulations for being a part of a project like that has gotten so many awards in the past,
thank you.
like few days, it seems like.
I know. I'm thrilled. I mean, and I never really expect. I mean, I didn't expect it, not because it wasn't really well written and really interesting and well designed and cool and thought out and in a great universe, but just because it wasn't some huge blockbuster thing. It wasn't something that was, recorded in Burbank, and cast by crazy sort of, it was just a different level sort of a thing. And it's cool that it did so well and that it's doing so well. It's a real treat to be some small part of it.
I feel like we're seeing that a little bit more in video games too, from a player's perspective. We're seeing more games like The Walking Dead or Journey that are actually getting out there and being recognized for taking a risk versus Shooty McShooter 86.
Yeah, yeah, part 9, or Military Combat Zone 8, I mean, it's definitely cool to have things that are different, come up, and they're accessible, that you can, like, I can buy it, and it's like, and I can play it anytime I want, and I don't have to go outside to buy it. It's like I can just turn on my console or turn on Steam, and it's like, and I can play that game in like 12 minutes. That's amazing to me, just how close it all is and how many more opportunities there are as a result of that. How I don't know that it's easier to be a developer because I don't know really anything about developing games. It seems like there are a lot more opportunities to develop something and have it succeed, whether it's an app or something that you can just download or an episodic game or something that's massive that they're spending millions and millions of dollars on. Just kind of, it's cool that it's all there. You can get it.
Definitely. And with things like Kickstarter and,
Oh,
fan
yeah.
support, it just seems like it's going to continue on that trend and hopefully kind of stay there for a while.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's making some great, fun things to play, so we all win. It's cool.
And it's giving a chance for gamers to experience games they might not have played. Like
Sure.
I collect and I play like a lot of really old games. And this is a game that you shouldn't play if you're under 18. But are you familiar with the Leisure Suit Larry games?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was, man, I want to say I was like 10 or 11 when those, I'm not a young guy. So I mean, I was, we played some of those. It was hard to get them to work on a Mac back in the day because we were Mac people and most of the games were PC games. But yeah, I do remember those. What do you play them on? Are they like the hard disks or
Well, actually, now they're doing like an
ROMs?
HD remake because of Kickstarter. So
Classy.
you're able to see the game nowadays. So people who might have heard of like the legacy will be able to play it today. And I'm happy that we're able to see that sort of thing without, publishers being like, well, you have to modernize it and make sure that there's guns and grenades and all that other fun stuff.
Sure, yeah, because it's independently funded. It's like,
Exactly.
this is what we're gonna do. Okay, you can do it. There isn't. Yeah, you're right. There isn't like a sort of corporate vision that has to hang over it. Which is great. Because it really does just mean that we'll get to play something cool. Hopefully, really cool. Something watered down. But I
And
mean,
it
even things that are coming, I think, from bigger corporations are still pretty well in hands of people that care about them and really want to develop them well too. Not to say that if it is, corporate, that it's not necessarily going to be any good.
Oh, there's
I
plenty
totally
of
know what you mean.
corporate games that are amazing out there, but
Totally.
in terms of, where gaming is going, it seems like MMOs and things like that are becoming another big factor, and you should know about that considering your character in League.
Yeah, I'm barely involved, but even more so than that bit. I mean, I played Warcraft for, wow, geez, probably much since like 1.05 or 6, vanilla through Cataclysm, and I didn't really get into Pandaria, but yeah, I've been playing MMOs for quite a while, and it does seem like there's, especially for us, I mean, there's a massive amount of work in those. The Rift quite a bit too, which is another MMO, and I think Ion, which was another in League, especially, or LOL, but so many things that so many opportunities for us because there's a million characters, and they keep.
Yeah, StarCraft and League seem to be the two major players when it comes to like pro gaming.
Sure.
Have you gotten to experience any of the tournaments seen yourself?
No, only just from reading about them on, like MMO Champion or something like that. Watching him a little bit. Like Adam Harrington is, who's a good friend of mine and voiceover colleague, and it's like Shaco, and he's, one of the others in the cannibal part of Walking Dead, but good friend, and he keeps trying to get us to go, and a lot of my friends have been able to go. I haven't yet, but I hope to. But I don't know how people receive those things, and I don't, I pay a lot of attention to how people, react to my characters or anything like that. So I don't know, because I know kind of how players are, and I know the kind of feedback that you could get from players. And so I don't necessarily want to know, how I would, it'd be cool if people played the tunes that, that I voice, but I don't know that I want to know how people react to them per se. It's not always a good thing. It's like, oh man, you voiced like the worst guy.
That's
Just
true.
totally stunnable. It's like, oh.
Some people can be really, really cruel, but I think the most cruelty you'll get is over the internet when people are being anonymous. So I think at an
Hmm,
event, you can feel safe.
sure.
There's security guards, and you're probably a bigger guy.
And
So,
Adam's, no, I'm not. I'm a little guy. But Adam, Adam, if I go with Adam and my other, LOL champion, Draven, Eric Bra, if I go with them, I'm totally fine. Because, I mean, I've got a little bit of a beard, but both of they're like Viking brothers. So it's like pretty much I just stand between and behind them, and I'll be all right.
you got an entourage.
Well, no, they just let me hang out with them. That's all.
No, just keep telling them, you guys are my entourage, and they'll
Yeah.
they'll love to have you around. I
No,
guarantee
I
it.
think they know. I think they know.
Well, for all the listeners out there who want to get their league on, we're going to take a very short break, so keep it tuned to 91.8 The Fan, where we play everything you want and nothing you don't. My special guest isn't going anywhere, at least not yet. Hey, everybody out there, you're still tuned to 91.8 The Fan, because if you weren't, you'd be missing an awesome guest. I mean, come on. What's wrong with you? Are you still alive? Did we kill you?
No, I'm still very much here. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'm dead, but I might still be in an alley
Well,
someplace.
it would be fitting if you were a zombie, all things considered.
It would. That would be a cool opportunity. You know, I don't know that. I don't know that anything else beyond that. Sadly.
Well, now for the listeners out there, are there any projects that you're working on that you can talk about? Are there any projects that have recently come out that you want them to know about?
I'm a bunch of, or I'm at least one or two like, or if you don't like Varys, or if you don't like, I guess, Blood Lord Vladimir, you could go and play Halo 4, and you could shoot guys, and one of them might be me. You could sort of take it out on me. Um, I'm also Furby. Like I said before, you could buy a Furby and you could smash it with a hammer. But it's a fun little toy if you have kids. They probably dig it. But and I'm just sort of additional voices in a couple things that I don't see myself in the cast list for yet, so I probably shouldn't say what they are. But they are sequels of existing franchises that were quite popular.
The wheels are turning, but we can't make any guesses.
Yes,
I'm sure
but
the live chat is making plenty of guesses, though.
and they would be console games more so than PC games. So that may narrow it down for some people. But
Interesting.
aside from that, I don't know. I just kind of I do audiobooks as well. I don't know that any of the current fiction ones that I've been working on are published yet, but yeah, there's lots of ways to listen to me talk if you were so inclined.
Well, I will say the Furby thing is kind of funny to me because I remember wanting those when I was really, really young. I don't even
Yeah,
know when they first came out, but I remember like everyone was trying to kill each other in the store to get one.
yeah, it was in the 90s, and I wasn't that Furby because I was, 10, well, I was graduating from high school. But I'm the current Furby, which just sort of came out last September, which has multiple personalities and switches into different ones. And I actually ended up, in some fit of inspiration, I talked the development company that I'd been working with into letting me do the localization of all the different characters for all the different languages on Earth that we were doing, which turned out to be 12. So,
Oh, wow.
like Mandarin Furby and Korean Furby and Japanese Furby and Spanish Furby. And, I mean, most of the language is Furbish. It's its own language that it speaks, but all the stuff that would fill in between was, I had to have a coach that would tell me how to say it in Mandarin, which was incredibly challenging.
Well, did you learn any words? Keep anything?
I know like "banyo zumala," which I guess means like "What's up, pal?" But I could have probably just said it really poorly. That would be in Mandarin. I don't remember too much of any of them because we did them all in the space of like 2 months. So it was like every 5 days I was doing a different language. So it's all gone at this point. But it was fun, and I think I may have an opportunity to do that again at some point. So, but I had no idea that anything. I don't know if anybody's done it before. But it was kind of a weird thing, and they still haven't come out in those countries. I think that that's in the spring or something like that. So it could be a huge monumental failure on my part, But it'd be kind of cool if it worked. So
Well,
if people thought it was.
I think you'll be okay with Korean because I'm going to assume that they made you talk kind of like a baby.
Yeah, they did. They did. There was a lot of that, and like actually, that was a funny one because we recorded it, and nobody like called into the session. Nobody like approved the script or anything like that. We didn't really hear anything for a while, and then they came back later, and we're like, no, we'll send somebody out and we'll redo the whole thing. And so they actually sent an executive out who spent 5 or 6 days, or maybe 3 days, working on it with me, which was fun. Is interesting. It's hard. I mean, I don't speak Korean, and I don't, I mean, I had to because obviously that was what I said I could do. But yeah, it was more like it's an alien, so it's going to speak it the way it speaks it. But whether or not that people believe that, I don't know.
Well, assuming it was, Romanized, like the
Oh
script you're looking
yeah,
at.
yeah, the scripts were. I mean, initially when we started Mandarin, it's like they just handed me a script that was written in Chinese,
Oh gosh.
script. I was like, well, what do I do? I mean, it's like, so they would have to say it and I would have to be writing it out. And so I have like copies of these scripts where I have just all of this scribbled pencil where I've got like, I mean, I studied linguistics in college, so I guess that's probably something I should have said, but I had a bit of a background with, the phonemes and whatnot. I actually did a phonology of Mandarin in college anyway. But where you basically go through and document all the sounds. So I was able to write them, to a degree once they would say them. But yeah, eventually we did. We got the scripts like westernized so I could read them. Because I mean, we did, Russian and things where the alphabet is not a Romance language alphabet or whatever we call the standard alphabet that us and most of Europe use.
Well,
I
see,
should know that.
well, see, since we play, Asian music, sometimes, I have to interview guests who speak very little English, or they only speak we can only understand each other on like first grade or second grade level of like Japanese or Korean.
Sure.
So, my problem with Korean though is when you see it romanized, you're like, what does the double J sound make? Because this doesn't
Oh
what it
yeah.
sounds like. I
No, and
mean, with
that
Japanese, it's a little bit easier, but I can't. I have to hear Korean to be able to grasp any of it.
Oh yeah, there was some definitely, and that was something that was really interesting. Like with Turkish was the same way, but especially Korean, there were sounds that were really interesting that we don't make normally in English. I mean that was one of the reasons why I studied linguistics. I like the way people talk, and I think accents are interesting. I always sort of like to try to do them, and so that was another reason why I started doing this or wanted to do this. So I mean to hear like Turkish and some of the different vowels that they have, or like the R sound in Dutch, which is like an American R, which like nobody else really has. You know, it's like everybody else has a, that's an interesting phoneme that people don't necessarily think that much about, but it's weird. And our letter R, the way we say it, is very strange. But it's just kind of neat to, what the hell am I talking about?
Well, all these other places, instead of saying ring, it's like ling. But yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's really interesting to be able to have the chance to do that, and hopefully all the people out there, even if they don't get the gift for themselves, at least they'll get it for somebody else on April's Fools to torture them.
exactly. Well, it's an expensive April Fool's, but you
Well,
know.
now they have electronic eyes, I think.
They do. They have LED eyes that move around. There's an app that interacts with it that you can feed it. It talks, it sings, it burps, it farts, it sneezes, it throws up, it does all kinds of crazy stuff.
I don't remember them throwing up. That
Oh
doesn't.
yeah, it totally barfs now.
I remember as a kid, I would stick my finger in its mouth to get it to stop talking. I don't remember it throwing up.
Yeah, now if you stick your finger in its mouth, it actually sounds like it's got a mouthful. It's pretty neat. We did a lot of really kind of fun, clever things, and it was a cool project. I mean, it's weird and it's kind of like a double-edged sword because people think, oh, it's so irritating or something like that. But I mean, it was one of the most fun things I've ever worked on. So
I
it's
think
pretty,
it's a guilty pleasure sort of toy for at
yeah.
least for adults or people who are at the higher end of teenager. But now for the listeners out there who want to keep track of all your adventures, Furby or otherwise, do you do the social media thing?
I do. I'm on Facebook at Gavin Hammon VO with a little VO for voiceover after my name. And my last name is Hammon. There's no D. A lot of people put a D on it. But and then I'm on Twitter at Gavin Hammon. Same thing. And I have a website that's Gavin Hammon, which is pretty low budget. Did it myself. Doesn't look that great. Probably not that up to date, but it's there. And yeah, pretty much anything you can find. There is another Gavin Hammond, though, who's a model, and he's way more attractive than me. So if you like Google a photo and you see like this really kind of attractive man, it's probably not the one of me. So
You should just use his pictures for your avatar everywhere.
I don't go through and change them or anything. I mean, if they come up, they come up. I'm not, but it is what it is. No, but he actually, we had the same agent for a while, so I used to get weird calls. They'd be like, yeah, they want you to be down on the beach at such and such. And like, what the hell are you talking about? There's a studio at the beach? It's going to sound terrible. Yeah, but not anymore. I think we have different agents now.
That's pretty hilarious, I won't lie.
It was neat. I mean, how random. I thought I was always telling people what my name was and having to pronounce it. Well, you Glavin, Garvin, Galvin, Kevin, Coven, Gavin. And they just say, over and over and over again. And then there's another one. I was like, oh, really? It's another one. But hey, what's up?
Well, since we're nearing the end of this interview, we have a tradition here on 91.8 The Fan, and I'm wondering if you'd be willing to participate in it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Awesome. We basically ask if you'd be willing to do a radio bump for us. The trick of it,
Sure.
however, is that we do the takes live on air.
Okay.
So if you mess up, everybody hears it.
Yeah, that's
We,
okay.
awesome. We basically ask if you'd be willing to say, hello, my name is, you insert your name. I do this. You can say characters you are, you're a voice actor, whatever you want to put there. And you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
See, that's the tough part, is at the end, right?
Yes,
See, that's where I'm going to blow it.
the numbers. So whenever
How
you're
y'all
ready.
doing? My name's Gavin Hammond, and I play Kenny in The Walking Dead. And you're listening to 91.8 The Fan.
See, that wasn't so hard. Oh, it seems we lost him after a successful bump. It seems like the painful agony of a bump was actually losing because that was pretty humorous. Wonderful internet. The internet punished him for the bump, and we didn't, so that's kind of surprising to me. Usually we're the ones that make fun of them if they screw up the bump, but apparently not this time. All right, well, we're going to go to a short break here because it seems like we can't reconnect with our guests, but make sure to keep tuned to 91.8 The Fan, where we play everything you want and nothing you don't. Then, I guess as a soundbite, since we kind of ended abruptly, for when Chris edits the interview for the website. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the listeners, like dating advice or words of wisdom or anything?
Oh God, no, 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 no. I don't have any advice about anything at all.
Well, that's better than no advice.
I know, right?
You've technically given them advice not to go to you about advice.
Yes, don't ask me.
Thanks very much for that. That was a lot of fun. And for anybody out there that missed any of this interview, don't fret. You can find it on the website within the next few days by keeping your eyes peeled to 918thefan.com and your ears tuned to 91.8 The Fan, where we play everything you want and nothing you don't.